Imagine getting a massive 20% raise at work. You celebrate, you feel like you finally made it, and then...
Fast forward 12 months?
Exactly. You fast forward 12 months only to look at your bank account and realize you are somehow exactly as broke as you were last year.
It's just so frustrating.
It really is. I mean, you're exhausted, you are working harder than ever, and yet the financial needle just hasn't moved a millimeter.
Yeah, it's this incredibly universal frustration that, almost nobody talks about out loud.
Right. You feel like you're sprinted on a treadmill, and no matter how fast you run, the scenery just doesn't change.
It is a profoundly exhausting cycle.
Yeah.
And it's completely counterintuitive, right?
Well, yeah, because we're taught the opposite.
Exactly. From the time we're young, we are all basically taught that the ultimate solution to financial stress is simply to work harder and earn more.
Just put your head down and grind.
Right. But when you look at the actual data behind wealth accumulation, for so many people, the more they make, the more just seems to mysteriously vanish.
Just disappears.
Yeah. The math of simply working harder is actually a terrible strategy for building wealth.
So today, we are going to look at exactly why that is. Our deep dive today is pulling from a really fascinating stack of research that explores what's known as the science of margin.
It's a great collection of sources.
It really is. And our mission today is to unpack this pretty brutal truth that, frankly, our educational system completely missed. Like, earning a lot of money does not actually make you wealthy.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
Because earning more money doesn't actually help you if the underlying system is fundamentally broken.
Without a system in place, all that extra income just keeps you sweating on that same treadmill, just at a slightly higher, more stressful speed.
Yeah, it's what financial analysts call a classic cash flow cascade failure.
A cascade failure, right.
Yeah.
And to understand that, there is this brilliant analogy that came up repeatedly in our research. Think of your personal balance sheet as a bucket.
Okay, a bucket.
Yeah, your income, so your salary, your side hustle, whatever brings cash in, that's the water you are pouring into that bucket.
Makes sense.
Now, if the structural integrity of your bucket is compromised, like if it's full of invisible holes, it absolutely does not matter how much water you pour in.
Right, you could double the water.
Exactly, you could hook up a fire hose to it. But if the leaks are there, the bucket will always end up empty.
Always.
So today, we're going to identify and basically plug 5 silent leaks that are quietly bleeding your wealth dry.
And what's crucial to understand here is that word, silent.
Silent.
Yeah, because when we talk about personal finance, we're highly trained to notice the massive gaping holes in the bucket.
Like rent.
Right, we obsess over the rent payment or the interest rate on some huge car loan or a crazy medical bill.
Sure, the big scary stuff.
But it's actually the quiet, invisible leaks that drain the balance sheet over time, specifically because our brains are hardwired to think they aren't dangerous.
Okay, so let's start right there with the very first invisible hole. It's what you might call the unnoticed daily drain.
Tiny stuff.
Yeah, these are the random little expenses that we completely ignore while we're busy stressing out over the mortgage. It's the $5 iced coffee.
Or the random app subscription.
Right, the one you completely forgot to cancel like 6 months ago. Or the $10 you dropped on a quick lunch because you just didn't feel like packing one.
And there is a real evolutionary reason we do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The human brain is constantly categorizing threats. We categorize the big expenses as existential threats to our financial security, so we monitor them closely.
Because a missed mortgage payment is a disaster.
Exactly. But the $5 coffee, the brain's threat detection system, registers that as totally harmless. It flies completely under the radar.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to push back here for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Does tracking a $5 coffee really make the difference between being broke and being wealthy? Because honestly, that just sounds exhausting.
It does sound exhausting.
Right. Doesn't that just turn you into someone who is completely obsessed with pennies, constantly anxious, and, I don't know, entirely unable to enjoy your life?
It's a really fair question, and it's the exact reason most people refuse to track their small spending.
Nobody wants to be that person.
Exactly. But if we look at the mechanics of wealth, it is not about the $5 on any given Tuesday. The math is relentless.
Relentless how?
Over a decade, these tiny, unchecked, frictionless habits don't just add up to pocket change. They literally consume hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands, just from coffee and lunches.
Yeah, it's the compounding effect working against you. But to address your point about misery and the obsession with pennies, Our research uncovered a really profound Japanese concept.
Oh, right, Kakeibo.
Yes, Kakeibo.
The Mindful Money Journal.
Exactly. It translates to a mindful money journal, and the underlying psychology behind it is just fascinating.
Because it's not about punishing yourself, right?
Right. This concept is not about deprivation. It's not a punishment where you tell yourself you can never enjoy a coffee again.
So what is it doing?
It is entirely about awareness and shifting your brain states.
How does it actually do that, though? Just by writing it down?
Yes, literally just by writing it down. Think about it. When you tap a card or use your phone to pay for something small, it's completely frictionless.
You barely even notice you spent money.
Exactly. Your brain's fast emotional system, what behavioral economists call System 1, is totally in charge.
Okay.
But Kakeibo teaches that when you physically write down every single dollar in a ledger, you introduce friction.
You're slowing yourself down.
Right. You force your brain's logical analytical center system to wake up and process the transaction.
Oh, wow. So you have to actually look at what you're doing.
Yes, you stop making emotional excuses and you finally start seeing the objective truth of your behavior.
Because the numbers don't lie. Like, you might feel like you, I don't know, hardly ever eat out.
But then you look at the journal.
Right, you look at the journal and realize you did it 14 times last month.
Precisely. Numbers are infinitely more honest than our emotions. We can emotionally justify almost any small purchase in the heat of the moment.
I had a hard day. I deserve this.
Exactly. But the Kakeibo philosophy teaches a very harsh but mathematically necessary lesson. If you do not respect the small amounts, the large amounts will simply flee from you.
Wow.
The big money won't stick around if your fundamental operating system is constantly dismissing the small money as unimportant.
That is a phenomenal reframe. You have to respect the small amounts, not out of stinginess, but out of, like, pure awareness.
Exactly.
So if Kakeibo is the tool that helps us zoom in and stop the daily bleed at the bottom of the bucket, what happens when the bucket itself is just too small for the lifestyle we're trying to contain?
That's a great question.
Because even without small leaks, sometimes the water just violently spills over the top, right?
It does. And that leads us to a massive structural problem. It's the trap of filling your life to exactly 100% capacity.
Ah, okay. This is the classic scenario where someone gets that 20% raise we talked about at the start.
Right.
They go from earning $50,000 a year to $60,000 a year. And yet, almost magically, they find a way to make their lifestyle cost exactly $60,000.
Yeah. Parkinson's law applied to personal finance. Expenses will inevitably rise to meet income unless you deliberately stop them.
You know, when I was reading through the data on this, I kept thinking about it like driving a car.
Okay, how so?
Imagine driving down the highway and constantly keeping the gas pedal pushed all the way to the floorboards.
Yeah.
You are perpetually driving your engine at the red line.
Right, maximum capacity.
Sure, maybe you are going really fast and maybe it feels incredibly exciting in the moment, but you are making your life unbelievably fragile.
Because there's no margin for error.
Exactly. When you drive at the red line, you have zero buffer. You have no shock absorbers. The absolute second a tiny bump in the road hits, like a water heater breaks, or you need new brakes, or a medical emergency pops up, what happens?
The engine blow.
You crash. You have left yourself absolutely no room for error.
The stress of that is catastrophic. Driving at the red line is exactly what living with zero financial margin feels like systemically.
It's exhausting.
It is high stress and extreme fragility. You are one bad Tuesday away from total financial ruin.
So how do we stop redlining?
To combat this, we can look at another incredible concept from Japanese culture, and it's called hara hachi-bu.
Right, but originally, hara hachi-bu is about eating, isn't it? It comes from Okinawa.
Yes, it's a dietary philosophy from one of the longest living populations on Earth, and it roughly translates to eat until you are 80% full.
So you don't gorge yourself.
Exactly. The idea is that you don't stuff yourself to 100% capacity. You leave a little room for your body to process the food.
I like that.
But financial experts have taken this exact philosophy and applied it directly to wealth building.
So an 80% lifestyle.
Yes. This is the precise mechanism that separates the average earner from the quiet millionaire next door. The quiet millionaire lives on 80% of their income and fiercely, aggressively protects that 20% margin for their future.
They intentionally leave 20% of the bucket empty. They refuse to redline the engine.
Exactly. Because actual financial freedom doesn't live in the gross size of your salary.
Right. The absolute number doesn't matter.
Financial freedom lives entirely in the gap between what you earn and what you spend.
Wow.
If you don't have that 20% margin, You aren't actually building wealth. You're just running on the treadmill, financing a lifestyle to impress people who aren't even paying attention to you.
Okay, but this raises a huge psychological question for me.
Let's hear it.
If living on 80% reduces our cortisol levels, creates a safety buffer, and actually builds wealth, why is it so incredibly hard to do?
It's a very fair point.
Right. Why do we naturally want to spend 100% of our income? What is the invisible force that is constantly pushing our foot down on the gas pedal to hit that red line?
Well, we have to look at the environment we're swimming in. We like to think of ourselves as deeply logical creatures, you know.
Sure, we think we're smart.
We think we make rational financial decisions based on spreadsheets and long-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that the modern market,
Oh boy.
the entire advertising world, the digital landscape, the algorithms on your phone, they are all specifically engineered by some of the smartest psychologists on the planet to trigger your fear and your greed.
It's literally weaponized against us. We are fighting a war against algorithms designed to separate us from our money.
Truly. And the primary weapon they use is emotional, dopamine-driven spending.
Dopamine spending.
Yeah. Let's look at the neuroscience of a flash sale or a limited time offer with a countdown timer.
Oh, those timers always get me.
Right. When you see that timer ticking down, your brain doesn't do a logical calculation of your compound interest goals for retirement.
Definitely not.
Instead, your amygdala, which is the primitive emotional center of your brain, actually hijacks your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical decision-making part.
Wait, so the logical part of your brain is literally taken offline.
Exactly. Your brain screams, I need this right now or I will miss out forever. It is a biological survival reaction.
That is wild.
And when you click buy, you get a massive immediate hit of dopamine. It feels amazing.
It does feel amazing for like a minute.
But the tragic irony of that chemical hit is that this temporary, fleeting excitement leads directly to permanent, long-term financial stress.
Right.
You trade a 5-minute chemical rush for a month of lying awake at night worrying about your credit card bill.
Man, I have absolutely been there. Browsing Amazon at 11 p.m., totally convinced my life will be completely fixed if I just buy this, specific espresso machine.
Yep. And then what happens?
The dopamine fades by the time the box arrives, but the missing money stays gone.
Exactly.
So how do we fight back against our own biology? Because we can't just turn off our amygdala.
No. You cannot just willpower your way out of it, because evolutionary biology will beat sheer willpower every single time.
So what's the fix?
You have to build a logical system. You have to create strict rules that transfer control away from your emotional impulses and give it back to your prefrontal cortex.
Okay, what kind of system?
The most effective system for this is the 24-hour rule.
Ah, the 24-hour rule. Meaning, before you make any impulse buy, no matter how good the flash sale is.
Or how much you feel like you deserve it.
Right, you force yourself to wait a full 24 hours.
Right, and it's not just an exercise in holding off or being tough. 24 hours is the literal biological time required for your brain chemistry to return to baseline.
So it's an actual physiological reset.
Yes. You are inserting a critical gap of time between the stimulus and the response. Usually, after a day, that dopamine craving has completely evaporated.
The amygdala calms down.
Exactly. And you realize you didn't actually need the item at all. It acts as an immediate physiological plug for that emotional leak.
Okay, let's say you are listening to this and you are taking notes.
I hope they are.
You've implemented Kakeibo to stop the daily bleed. You've embraced the 24-hour rule. Your brain chemistry is balanced, and you've successfully created that 20% margin.
Great.
So you are living on 80%. Your bucket is structurally sound. Now, you actually have some saved water pooling up.
Which is a great position to be in.
It is. But here is where we hit another massive roadblock. This is where so many incredibly smart people just completely freeze.
Because having the margin just sitting in a checking account isn't the end of the process.
Right. Inflation will just slowly evaporate that water over time.
Exactly. Which brings us to the danger of waiting for the perfect moment.
Oh, this one is so common. This is where the lies we tell ourselves get really sophisticated.
Very sophisticated.
We say things like, I'll invest in the market when things are a little less volatile, or I'll start building that side business when things finally calm down at work and I have more free time.
And what's insidious about this is how we define the loss.
What do you mean?
This particular leak isn't actually a leak of money. It is a leak of your most valuable, utterly irreplaceable asset.
Which is your time.
Wait, expand on that. How is waiting a leak of time?
Waiting for the perfect moment is usually just a very clever, socially acceptable disguise for fear.
Oh, that stings a little.
Right. We are terrified of making a mistake, of looking foolish, or of losing a little bit of money, so we tell ourselves we're just being prudent by waiting for the perfect market conditions.
Or the perfect, flawless business plan.
Exactly. But the mechanics of wealth rely entirely on time. While you are sitting on the sidelines waiting for perfection, the silent, massive power of compounding is just passing you by.
So the delay itself is the cost.
Yes. Mathematically, investing a messy, imperfect $100 today is vastly superior to investing a perfect $1,000 10 years from now.
Wow, so how do we break out of that paralysis? Because fear of making a mistake is a powerful paralyzer.
It really is.
To fix this, our research points to a third Japanese principle, and it's called Kaizen. Kaizen, yes, it's the philosophy of continuous 1% daily improvements.
1% daily improvements. I love that because it completely shatters the myth that you need a huge lump sum of money to start investing.
Or a massive, uninterrupted block of free time to start building an asset.
Exactly. You don't need a grand slam, you just need to get on base.
That's it.
Yeah.
Kaizen teaches us that motion beats meditation when it comes to wealth.
Motion beats meditation.
Yeah, you don't need the perfect diversified index fund portfolio today. You just need to set up an auto transfer of $10 a week into a basic brokerage account.
Just start the engine.
Right. You don't need the perfect business plan with a slick logo. You just need to spend 20 minutes tonight registering a domain name, or even just reading one chapter of a book on real estate.
It's the relentless consistency of small actions that builds compounding wealth, not the perfection of the timing.
Exactly. An imperfect action taken today is worth infinitely more than a flawless plan that lives purely in your head.
Which brings us to the ultimate, final piece of the puzzle.
The big one.
Yeah. We've established that time is our most valuable asset and that waiting drains it. But if you are using your time perfectly and taking those messy, imperfect actions, what should you actually be building?
And that leads us to the final and unequivocally the most dangerous trap of them all. It's the fundamental error of the middle class.
The time for money trade.
Yes.
The reality is, if you are trading your hours for dollars without building any underlying assets, like if your income completely instantly stops the exact second you stop working.
Then you do not actually have wealth.
Right. You just have a job that owns you.
This is the definitive characteristic of the treadmill we discussed at the very beginning. The average earner looks at their time and thinks, how can I sell these hours for the highest possible hourly rate?
How do I get a bigger salary?
Exactly.
Right.
But the wealthy look at the exact same hours entirely differently. They do not view their time as something to be sold.
Wait, but if I'm working 50 or 60 hours a week just to pay the bills, I literally don't have time to build fancy systems. How does someone trapped in that cycle actually pivot?
It starts with how you allocate that 20% margin we built earlier.
Ah, right. The Harajuku margin.
Exactly. The wealthy do not just work for active income. They work to build systems and assets.
Like what?
We are talking about buying dividend stocks, coding a digital product, buying a rental property, or building a small online business. They use the concept of leverage to multiply their efforts.
Okay, let's break that down. Give me a concrete scenario.
Sure. Let's say we have an average earner and a wealthy earner, and they both have 2 free hours on a Saturday morning.
Okay, level playing field. 2 hours each.
The average earner uses those 2 hours to mow their neighbor's lawn for $40.
They traded 2 hours for $40.
Right. It's linear. When the 2 hours are up, the earning stops completely. If they want another $40, they have to find another lawn and sweat for another 2 hours.
They're acting as the engine.
Exactly. Now, the wealthy earner uses those exact same 2 hours on a Saturday to write a piece of code or record an instructional video or set up a dropshipping web page. They might not make a single dime that Saturday. But because they built an asset with leverage, that video or that web page might generate $5 a week every single week for the next 10 years while they sleep.
Wow, so they did the work once.
They did the work once, and the system continues to pay them indefinitely.
It goes back to the bucket analogy. Let's fix that metaphor a bit.
Go carrot.
The average earner carries heavy buckets of water from the river to their house every single day just to survive.
Right. And if they get sick, they don't get water.
Exactly. The wealthy person uses those initial buckets of water to keep themselves alive while they spend their free time digging a well in their backyard.
That's a perfect way to put it.
It takes intense, uncompensated effort up front. But once the well is built, the system does the work for them. They never have to carry a bucket again.
And if you aren't using a portion of your current income, that margin, to buy back your future time by digging a well, you are leaking your freedom every single day.
You're leaking your freedom. That is such a stark reality.
It is. If your only engine for generating cash flow is your own physical labor and your own waking hours, you are mathematically capped.
Because there are only 24 hours in a day.
Right. You will hit a ceiling and you will stay on that treadmill until your legs give out.
So plugging these leaks isn't just about hoarding a bigger number in a savings account.
Not at all.
It is about systematically, deliberately transferring your reliance from your own fragile labor to the robust assets and systems you've built.
Exactly.
Man, we have covered some massive life-altering ground today. Let's bring this all together.
Sounds good.
What the science of margin ultimately reveals is that wealth is a conscious, structural choice. It is absolutely not an accident, and it is rarely just about working harder.
No, it's about working smarter within a system.
Right. You can choose to keep running blindly on that red-line treadmill, letting the invisible leaks drain you while you wonder why you're always exhausted.
Or you can choose to become an architect of your own systems.
Yes. You can introduce friction and use Kakeibo to track and respect the small amounts.
You can apply Harahachi-bu to live on 80% and aggressively protect your margin.
You can use the 24-hour rule to let your prefrontal cortex defeat dopamine spending.
You can embrace Kaizen to stop waiting for perfect timing and take messy action today.
And most importantly, you can stop selling your time for money by focusing relentlessly on building assets.
And, we don't want you to just listen to this deep dive, nod along while you drive or do the dishes, and then change nothing.
Definitely not.
We want to challenge you with a very specific, immediate action item.
What is it?
Don't wait for a perfect tomorrow. Pull up your bank statement or credit card bill from last month. Go through it, line by line, and find just one silent leak.
Just one.
Just one. One recurring subscription, one emotional spending habit. Plug it today. And as you do, adopt this mantra from the research to internalize your shift in identity.
What's the mantra?
I am ready to change.
Bro.
Remember, the absolute best time to start building your well was 10 years ago. But the second best time is right now.
I am ready to change. I love how empowering that is.
It's all about taking that first step.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought experiment to chew on.
A little homework.
Exactly. Think back to that balance sheet bucket. Think back to driving your life at the red line. If your current job, if your sole source of active labor-driven income entirely disappeared tomorrow morning.
Scary thought.
Very. How many days could your systems keep your 80% lifestyle afloat before your bucket runs entirely dry?
That gap right there is the only real measure of wealth.
It really is. Food for thought. Keep building those systems, respect your margin, plug those leaks, and we will see you on the next deep dive.